Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Stenny's Lake Country. Perfect place to come take a shuttle to and from the Brewers game. Out here until 6:30 today. Coming up from 5 to 6:30, the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz getting ready for Brewers and D-backs baseball tonight. Out here, courtesy of Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka, is refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. No bubbles to fill you up as the perfect game day sipper. All right, we've been talking about we are going to make a programming announcement today at 4 o'clock. It is 4 o'clock, and with that, hit my music. I think that pretty much sums up what is going on here on The Fan. We are pleased to announce that we will be the new affiliate for Notre Dame football. First game on the docket comes up against the Hurricanes in Miami. 5:30 pregame start coming up this Sunday night on The Fan. Cannot wait to carry Notre Dame football here on The Fan. And joining us now to talk more about it, the play-by-play voice of Notre Dame football, he is Tony Simeone. Follow him on Twitter at Tony Simeone PXP. Tony, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to be here and excited that you guys will be hearing our games all season long. We're really looking forward to being in more homes in Milwaukee.
It's pretty crazy, right? So, I mean, from your perspective, Notre Dame isn't just a, Indiana brand or whatever. It's a national brand. When you're on TV on NBC for all those years, and then from the radio perspective and all the affiliates that you have around the country too, it is much different than, say, with all due respect, to say being with the Wisconsin Badgers at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to get in any hot water with the Badgers right now.
Don't worry. They're fine.
As you alluded to, I grew up in Seattle, and the only college football team that I knew would be on pretty much every Saturday was Notre Dame, as you alluded to, at the NBC contract. And, of course, our affiliate group with the radio stations is nationwide as well. So we love, obviously the Midwest in particular. There's great diehard fans, not just in Indiana, but all across the region and even beyond. So our affiliates, it's awesome how many different cities carry it around the country, and we're excited to have you guys on board as well.
The schedule comes out for Notre Dame, and you start off in Miami against the Hurricanes. Nothing like starting off with a cupcake to start off the season, right? I mean, my goodness gracious. You start off with a rivalry game to your schedule. I would assume both fan bases jacked up for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, great environment. Marcus Freeman's now in his fourth season, and he's never opened a season at home. They seem to have these really difficult games. He had to go to Ohio State one year. Last year, of course, Notre Dame opened the season down in Texas A&M, who they'll have for their home opener here when they come back after the bye. But going to Miami, top 10 matchup. It's the Sunday night game as opposed to Saturday, but they kind of get that day to themselves, so they'll have all eyes and ears on them. You can't really ask for much more. And, of course, the Irish, the last game they won was in this building last year in the Orange Bowl against Penn State, really memorable win. So a lot of guys at least familiar going into that building and getting a win, but it'll be a little bit of a different environment with all those Hurricane fans there for sure.
Tell us about C.J. Carr, the quarterback picked to lead the Notre Dame football team this year.
Yeah, I think people are really excited about C.J. Carr. If you're a college football fan, you know his bloodlines. Obviously, his grandfather was Lloyd Carr, the longtime head coach at the University of Michigan. He committed to play here, and really since he's committed to Notre Dame, people have been excited about seeing what he can do at the quarterback position. He's one of the highest-ranked quarterbacks they've brought in quite some time. It did sound, by everyone I talked to and all the reports coming out of camp, and Marcus Freeman's confirmed it with the way he's talked about it, like Kenny Minchie, who's the backup after CJ was named the starter, sounds like Kenny really pushed him throughout camp, which I think they all believe is a good thing. Competition is good for everybody involved. But in the end, CJ earned the job. And as you just alluded to, not an easy first game for any quarterback, certainly not an easy first game to make your first career start, but he's going to get a great taste of it on Sunday night. And I think, like a lot of Notre Dame fans, I'm really eager to see what he looks like specifically on those first few drives. It's going to be loud, it's going to be hostile, and it's going to be a great opportunity for a young second-year quarterback.
If you're just tuning in, the big announcement here on The Fan this afternoon, the new home for Notre Dame football is 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan, live on the radio, streaming, all that fun stuff. Make sure to check us out. First game, again, in Miami coming up this Friday, 5:30 pregame start for that one. We'll carry all the games throughout the season. Talking with Tony Simeone, the play-by-play voice for Notre Dame, talking about C.J. Carr and what he has. It helps that you have two stud running backs behind him, Tony.
Yeah, I think that if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're going into this year hoping that you just find a way to keep running the ball at all costs. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price could be the best two-headed monster in the country, and specifically Jeremiah Love. He was electric last year, scored a touchdown in all but one of their first 15 games. Had some incredible highlights, maybe most notably a 98-yard run in the playoff game at home against Indiana. There's definitely Heisman buzz with him. Quite frankly, I'm just not sure he's going to get the touches necessary to maybe put up the gaudy numbers, and that's a testament to the other guy you referred to, Jadarian Price, who I think could be a bell cow back really anywhere in the country except for Notre Dame, where he's sharing that backfield with Jeremiah Love. So if either one of them is in the backfield, you feel good as a Notre Dame fan. They both have had huge moments throughout their career here, and presuming that health is not a factor throughout the year, there's no reason why that duo can't be the best duo in college football.
The other thing I want to bring up, since we are on at Wisconsin and it is The Fan in Milwaukee, the idea that Notre Dame seemingly is starting to have some success coming up to Wisconsin in recruiting. Billy Schroth, obviously offensive lineman for Notre Dame. Talk about that, and has that become a target now for Marcus Freeman? Because I feel like for a lot of schools, people are now trying to come in here and steal players away from Luke Fickell in Wisconsin.
Well, I'll tell you this: Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, they aren't scared to go recruit anywhere, right? So whether it's Wisconsin or it's the West Coast or the East Coast, if you look at this roster, it's unlike, and as you said, it's kind of a national brand. It's unlike any other roster where you're just not seeing one state pop up over and over again. Like, I'm getting ready for Miami this week. And of course, Florida is everywhere, as it should be, right? They're in their backyard. There's great athletes down there. So specifically, if you're any state, you're going to have be looking over your shoulder. Is Notre Dame coming? And Marcus Freeman's done a terrific job. If there's one thing that it seems like he has managed to do really well in his first few years on campus is establish that he's the kind of coach a lot of young kids, young adults want to play for. So whether it's in Wisconsin, Florida, New York, LA, people have shown they want to play for him. They're getting terrific athletes to come play in this program now. And it does seem like they continue to kind of grow and improve on the recruiting front. So that's definitely been a factor and a point of emphasis in this time here.
Looking forward to it, Tony. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Excited to be the affiliate for Notre Dame football here in the Milwaukee area for radio and audio. Appreciate it much, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, Sparky, thanks a lot. We're really looking forward to having people listening to us on your station in Milwaukee. Can't wait for Sunday night for that season opener.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. There he is, Tony Simeone. Again, follow him on Twitter at Tony Simeone, PXP, voice of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And again, we're carrying all their games. Pre-game coverage starts this week, Sunday night, because it's Labor Day weekend, right? Sunday night in Miami, 5:30 pre-game start for that one, and then kickoff right about 6:30. You look at this schedule, Charlie. My goodness gracious. I mean, at Miami, home against Texas A&M, home against Purdue. Okay, Purdue's a gimme. At Arkansas, then home against Boise State, North Carolina State, USC, at Boston College, home against Navy, at Pitt, home against Syracuse, at Stanford. Stanford, who just got beat by Hawaii over the weekend. They blew a lead in that game in which they probably should have won. Frank Reich coaching that Stanford team, remember. Andrew Luck running that program. They've already said Reich is going to be out after the end of this season, before the season even started, that Luck would get his own guy. But you look at that schedule, and to me at least, you don't have any cupcakes. There's no Central Michigan, Western Michigan, any type of directional school does not appear to be on this schedule, which is obviously nice. And if you're a Notre Dame fan, you want to see them play, the good schools. Obviously, you have rivalries that you're going to play every year, right? You're gonna play Miami. You're going to play Navy. There's certain schools. USC is always going to be on the schedule that you're going to want to play against. But it's not an easy schedule. But yet, you still look at Notre Dame and feel like, hey, man, they're a playoff team. This is going to be a playoff team at the end of the year with a chance to win a national championship.
And I think they're in that category of one of few teams that you constantly feel like that going into the season, which is something that as somebody growing up as a Miami fan wasn't always the biggest fan of. So it's kind of cool to be on the other side and see how they view it from that standpoint and kind of see going into the season with these types of expectations against such a hard schedule, what that means for a Notre Dame team that I think in past years, a lot of people felt like we're a more polarizing squad than maybe they should be.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He is Charlie using Steve Sparky Fifer with you. All right, take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side. And again, Notre Dame football here on the Fan. Starting this season will be the affiliate for Notre Dame football. Definitely want to tune that in. Again, Sunday night, 5:30 pregame coverage starts for that. Coming up, segment 2 of the third hour here, we talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. They get ready to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. Mizorowski on the mound, the Miz. If you're looking to take a shuttle and you're out here in the Pewaukee area, this is your place, folks. Take the shuttle to and from the Brewers game out here at Stenny's Lake Country in Pewaukee. Great wings, build your own pizzas, burgers, everything that you want out here, and just an absolutely beautiful place. If you live out here and you've never been out here, I'm telling you right now, shame on you. Like, I'd be totally fine walking in here with my family and having lunch or dinner or whatever the case may be. Absolutely beautiful, clean, spacious. Can't say enough good things. And we're out here thanks to Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Interesting piece that I found in The Athletic yesterday, talking about the Brewers being aggressive for a certain player at the trade deadline. Even though they didn't get him, the player himself heard from Brewers players that the Brewers were trying to get him. We'll tell you who that was and whether or not maybe the Brewers get a bad rap about what they do at the trade deadline. That's all coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparky here out at Stenny's Lake Country in Pewaukee. You've got to see this place to believe this place if you've never been out here. Stenny's at 5th and National, very cool. Mitch Thunder Nellis will be out there tomorrow from 2 to 5, and then Tommy will be out there 5 to 6:30, just like he is out here at Stenny's Lake Country tonight. So definitely go out, check those guys out. They got shuttles to and from the games at Stenny's at 5th and National. They also have the shuttles to and from the games here out in Lake Country. If I lived out here, I would never drive to American Family Field, ever. I would take the shuttle every single time, and I would probably be here at least once a week eating something one way or the other. This would be my home bar if I was out here in the Pewaukee area. I feel like I'm fairly confident in bars out here, and I've never been out to this one, and this one is really good. Tommy just went and left and never came back. He sees another room that might be an arcade at the end of this huge room that we're in currently, and he saw a Pop-A-Shot machine, I think.
Of course he did, yep.
So he left, and he has not come back. So I've not gotten down there yet because obviously we've been cooking along here, but I think there might actually be some arcade games and stuff down at the other end of this place. Like I said, it's gigantic. I can't do it justice by just talking about it on the radio. All right, let's get into talking about this Brewers team. It's something, again, that I saw in The Athletic about Ryan O'Hearn. Now, Ryan O'Hearn was a guy that was being talked about and was being connected to the Brewers during the offseason. From The Athletic, O'Hearn said lefty DL Hall and other players of the Brewers texted him saying, "Hey, we put in a good offer for you," end quote. So on the eve of the deadline, he chose to remain in Baltimore rather than fly with the Orioles to Chicago. Right-hander Charlie Morton, who ultimately was traded to Detroit, also stayed back. There were so many rumors, Ryan O'Hearn said. I was thinking it could be Boston. Boston was right up the street, and why am I going to fly all the way to Chicago? I was like, screw it. I'm just going to stay here. So O'Hearn didn't even travel with the team for the trade deadline day, anticipating the fact that he was going to get traded and he wasn't going to be in Baltimore one way or the other. He was going to go somewhere. But I read this last night. I was like, well, hot damn. Like, the Brewers were telling their players that they were being aggressive, trying to get Ryan O'Hearn. They were telling DL Hall and these guys, hey, man, we're going strong for Ryan O'Hearn. We think we got a chance at this. So there's a certain part of me that feels like that's pretty cool. Like, if you're being that communicative with your team, your clubhouse, if you're Matt Arnold or you're Pat Murphy or whoever's talking to these guys is doing that, I think that makes you feel good as a player that, okay, look, they're trying to improve this roster, right? We're active. We're trying to go get somebody else to come in here and try and push us across the line. Because as a fan base, we were demoralized and beaten down by nothing of significance happening. Now, Shelby Miller is pitching. That's been fine. Lockridge they got, wasn't a big fan of that. He's done more than good enough since he's been here. But still not to the length of what a Ryan O'Hearn's bat could possibly mean to this lineup. But to read that in The Athletic now makes you feel better about how active the Brewers were, I think.
Definitely. I think you listen to that and you say, you know what? Maybe they weren't telling us what they were being aggressive for. Maybe they weren't telling the media members what they were being aggressive for, but the players knew what they were being aggressive for.
Right.
And maybe even DL Hall didn't really know to the full extent, but at least somebody in that organization had to have said something for him to go out and say something to somebody else. And I think that's kind of a big deal for this Brewers team, that the way you get these players to buy in is by telling them that you're buying in too, that you're all in on this, that you're going to go try to be aggressive for that. And yeah, maybe the Brewers didn't go out there and offer the biggest package for a Ryan O'Hearn, but that might just be based off of what they valued him at. And I think a lot of people neglect that teams aren't always going to overpay for a Ryan O'Hearn or a Ryan McMahon or any of these other players that were on the market, or Eugenio Suarez. So you have to kind of settle your expectations where you expect the team to be at. And I think too much this offseason, or too much during this trade deadline, we set our expectations way higher than where the Brewers had their expectations, where the rest of the league had their expectations. And I think that's something that moving forward here, as long as the players feel like they're comfortable, as long as the front office feels like they're comfortable, maybe the fan base should feel like they're comfortable. And maybe Milwaukee Bucks fans should take a note from that. If it feels like Giannis feels like he's comfortable, it feels like the front office feels like he's comfortable, I don't know, maybe the fans should be comfortable.
It's interesting as you go and you look. Ryan O'Hearn eventually ends up getting moved to the San Diego Padres with the Orioles. He had 283 on the year and had 43 RBIs. And with the San Diego Padres in 21 games, 59 at bats, he's hitting 254 with 10 RBIs to this point for them. And this is a guy that you wanted to get for the power of, what he brings in for the season. He's got 13 home runs on the season, does Ryan O'Hearn. I don't know how much better this roster would have been with Ryan O'Hearn, because if that's the case, then does Andrew Vaughn then find his way out here? He's played a little bit of first base. If that's the case, does Lockridge play? Probably not. But Ryan O'Hearn isn't a center fielder either. So that would have meant Sal Frelick would have been more in center field while they were waiting for, some of these guys to come back. It would have been O'Hearn, Frelick, and Churio, O'Hearn, Frelick, and Yelich, because Churio's been out since the deadline. So Churio wouldn't have factored into this. But we started looking long-term as far as how this makes sense. But now you look at it because of how well this Brewers team has hit the baseball since the trade deadline, and you go, did they really need him? Right? I mean, you still can make a very good point that they still did not get the job done by not getting Suarez to play third base at the end of the day, because you did not get that big premier hitter to put in the middle of this lineup to replace a weak link for sure, especially if that means Siegler's playing now more than Durbin. If that's how this is going to continue, you really screwed that up, because if that was the plan, then you very well should have went out and got Suarez to try and do this. Now, again, I understand. Oh, we didn't want to overpay, Baba. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, at some point, you've got to push chips in and go. So the question concerning them getting O'Hearn or not getting O'Hearn that we're asking is, did we give the Brewers a bad rap based on what Ryan O'Hearn had to say as far as the Brewers were being aggressive trying to get him? Nicolay Lafan talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Sound off the recorded voice message on the Odyssey app, Facebook, and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. To that, Charlie Usen, I say, no, we weren't giving them a bad rap. They deserved everything we threw at them at the trade deadline, and I'm still not happy about the idea that they did not improve that third base position.
And I understand where you're coming from. I also think that, you know what, looking at what the Brewers have done, they've changed my mind a little bit. I think they did make moves that improved this team. Andrew Vaughn was basically a trade deadline move that came out and ended up playing a lot better than anybody thought he could ever play, better than I think the Brewers thought he could play. And I think that was part of the reason that kind of changed their viewpoint here. I don't know if they ever really planned on trading for Eugenio Suarez or Ryan O'Hearn or really Ryan McMahon, any of these power-hitting third basemen that were going to be on the trade market. But at the same time, I think that they're allowed to change their opinion if they were thinking about that. And what we saw from Andrew Vaughn said that they should probably change their opinion about how they should attack this trade deadline. And I know I was a little frustrated with them as well that they weren't going out and getting those moves. But I think I can say I was wrong, that they didn't have to. What we've seen from the third base position since that trade deadline hasn't been any different than really what we saw in the first half of the season. At the same time, I have been much more impressed with this team since the trade deadline than I was in the first half of the season.
God bless you. God bless Brewers fans that have that mentality. I wish my mind could wrap around that. Listen to me. And just like Andrew Wagner for Forbes Sports, who's down at American Family Field, wants to take every chance possible to tell me how bad Suarez is doing in Seattle and so forth, I will tell you the same thing I've told everybody else. None of this matters until we get to the postseason. Let's see what Suarez does in the postseason, and let's see what Anthony Siegler does as your starting third baseman does in the postseason, and Caleb Durbin and what he does in the postseason. None of this matters. I don't care what happens in August and September. The Brewers were going to be in the playoffs either way. To me, at least, I wasn't worried about them making the playoffs. That was not the point of the Suarez move. The point of the Suarez move was to get to a World Series. If we get to the playoffs and Suarez hits 5 home runs in the postseason and hits like 275 or 280, and meanwhile, over here in Milwaukee, we've got a combination of third basemen hitting 250 and struggling with any type of pop, then, I'm sorry, the argument's out the window. I don't really care what Suarez does in August and September. All I care about is what Suarez does in October. And the same thing for Caleb Durbin and Anthony Siegler at third base. To me, this is all going to come down to production you get out of that position when you get to the postseason. You know what you're getting from Terang. Hopefully Joey Ortiz is back. You know what you're getting from Joey Ortiz, whose bat actually is picked up right before he got hurt, of course. You know Contreras now looks like the old William Contreras, which is good because old William Contreras had not shown up for 4 months of the season. So he's going in the right direction. You know in Churio, you know in Yelich, you know in Frelick. Those are all knowns. The only thing you don't know, the question mark of this offense, 1 through 9 right now, or 8 because you don't count the pitcher, 1 through 8 right now, the only question you have really is third base still. Ram on the north side, you're next on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's at Stenny's in Lake Country. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Nice spot you guys are at.
Man, this place is amazing, dude.
Yeah,
amazing.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I'm going to say this. Let's talk about the 2 weeks before the postseason.
Yep.
And let's talk about the big thing I think about baseball is when the weather changes. So when you got a low-scoring game, we got pitching, who do you feel good about if we got to come up and get a hit, get a base hit to win a game, a 4-3 game or a 2-1 game or something like that? So that's what that's what you're asking. I mean, I hear you loud and clear. I don't have a problem with none of that. Now, the question is, you saying 1 through 6 is solid, but you saying 7 and 9 or 7? Well, you're not counting the pitcher. Well, so you're saying 7 and 8 is kind of like.
Well, look at it from this aspect, right? So first base is Hoskins or Vaughn, whoever they decide to play there. Terang's at second, Ortiz is at short. That's non-debatable, but his bat's getting better. But you know what you have there, right? Yeah, that's all about
Absolutely.
defense. Contreras is catching. You know what that looks like. He's been hitting the ball well. The outfield is going to be Yelich, Frelick, Churio, or Yelich is the DH. I don't think he will be. I think he's going to play in the field in the postseason so they can have Hoskins and Vaughn's bats both in the lineup. But if that's not the case, then it ends up being Yelich out there with I'm blanking, Isaac Collins and Sal Frelick. Even if those three are out there with Churio, Collins, and Frelick, and Yelich is the DH, you're still happy because Collins has put himself in Rookie of the Year type stuff here with his bat. He had a big double last night and looked like Isaac Collins.
Man.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm saying from –
in our lineup. Okay. Do you believe that we may have a situation where one of those pinch hitters on the bench may step up in the postseason and do some clutch thing? That's what I'm feeling.
You're going to have somebody, right, have that big pop off the bench, yeah.
From what we've seen so far, you think the adrenaline will keep pumping into the postseason? Because I really think that, and I'm going to say this. I'm just putting it out there. I think low-key, I think the locker room has dedicated this season to Bob Uecker. I'm just putting it out there.
I don't think it's low-key. I think it's front and center. I don't think there's any question about that, man.
I don't think nobody – if they're not talking about – we're talking about it right now. I think they were kind of touched about the January thing. And I think the way they've been playing, I don't know, something clicked after the trade deadline, Sparky, and I've been watching them. And it's almost like you sitting there watching. It could be 5-0, and then you come back just like 5-4. Next thing you know, they don't won the game. And it's not a fluke. I just don't think it's a fluke.
No, it's not a fluke. All right, thanks for the call, Ram. Ram Northside checking in. Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. We talked about this a little bit the other day about momentum and how well you're playing. And when you end the regular season, you get into the postseason, right? If everything holds and they're the one, they're going to have a bye, folks. They're going to have a couple of days where they're just going to have a baseball practice, like just a day of practice at American Family Field. All the local TV stations are going to be there. The national TV guys are going to be there interviewing Brewers players and showing them just shagging fly balls and hitting and doing all that stuff. It's just going to be a couple days of practice. So their season is going to come to a stop. And then they're going to sit there and chill and wait to start back up again. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. I've seen it go both ways for different teams across Major League Baseball. Just like an NFL team, when you get a bye week in the NFL postseason and you sit and you wait, you love it because now you're healthy. But at the same point, you don't play for a week. So now maybe you're a little rusty waiting 2 weeks to play. And I don't think it's anything different with baseball. Like football, the hot team coming into the postseason that can carry it into the postseason and through the postseason normally is that team that makes that run to that World Series or makes that run to that Super Bowl. And overcoming that time off sometimes is an obstacle, Charlie.
Definitely. And I think with this Brewers team specifically, because they're such a young squad, because they've gone out here and played as hot as they have been, and you're starting to see it kind of taper off a little bit here, they're still a very good baseball team. I don't think you want to give them that much more time to have it taper off, honestly. I think keeping up with this competitive play style, keeping up with the same underdog mentality that you have, despite them not really being underdogs at this point, at least what their record says, I think is all good for this team. I think making sure that they still have this mindset that it's them against the world is going to help keep them afloat. I think taking your foot off the gas a little bit is going to take the foot off the gas for everybody on this team, and I don't think you want to do that.
I agree with you that you don't want to do that, and this is going to be the fine line that they're going to have to figure out with Pat Murphy and so forth as far as how they go about this. Talking again about Ryan O'Hearn and his comments to The Athletic about the idea that DL Hall and others with the Brewers reached out to him leading up to the trade deadline and said, hey, man, we're coming for you. We're going to come and get you and bring you here. Remember, DL Hall was in Baltimore. He came to Milwaukee in that Corbin Burns deal, so they had that relationship, and he wasn't the only one. According to O'Hearn, there were other Brewers players texting up, excited that maybe they were able to get Ryan O'Hearn to come to Milwaukee. And then at the end of the day, the San Diego Padres got after it and got two players from the Baltimore Orioles instead of one because, again, when you start talking about aggressive GMs, Preller in San Diego, there's not many guys that are as aggressive as that dude is. Now, you could talk about it possibly costing Preller his job in San Diego at one point or another. That is not how they play things in Milwaukee. Matt Arnold is never going to be that aggressive, nor do I think the owner of this team would want him to be that aggressive. I would as a fan. But I don't think that is the philosophy of this organization.
I think if you let him be that aggressive, or if the ownership lets him be that aggressive, and I've said this before, that means there's probably going to be more tinkering from the ownership in whatever the team decisions are. I think right now what we're seeing from Matt Arnold is he's being allowed to build whatever he wants under the certain financial threshold that Mark Atanasio has set for him. And if he were to go above that, Mark Atanasio is going to want to move around things a little bit more. He's going to want to go for a guy like Eugenio Suarez in that situation if he's the one fronting the money in that situation. I think right now what we're seeing from the Milwaukee Brewers and the reason they're able to build such a strong and steady organization all around is because Matt Arnold has been able to basically work freely, be out there and get the guys that he wants to get that will fit into the system, along with the help of maybe a Pat Murphy and the rest of this coaching staff. I think if you don't have that, if you have more tinkering and meddling from the owners, you're going to end up more like a team like Chicago or a team like the Mets where, yeah, you are spending a lot of money. You are going out there and making big trades. But then when things aren't going well, the front office and the coaching staff are really sitting there with their hands tied and don't know what to do in that situation because the ownership won't let them do anything that isn't approved by them. The Brewers have a little bit of a different situation here, and I think really Matt Arnold, the coaching staff, and honestly the fans should be a little bit appreciative of that.
Look at you, appreciative, trying to tell Brewers fans to calm down and let them do their work. I mean, they know what they're doing.
I'm watching the Chicago Cubs at the same time as I'm watching this Milwaukee Brewers team this season. I see the constraints that this organization, the Chicago Cubs organization, is working under and how it's kind of ruining the vibes in that whole entire organization at this point.
Constraints? The payroll is way bigger than the Brewers. What do you mean constraints? What are the constraints?
The payroll is way bigger than the Brewers, but it's under the ownership's eye. They're not able to re-sign a Kyle Tucker, despite them probably wanting to re-sign a Kyle Tucker at this point.
Now he's hitting the ball well again too, so that's
he's good. We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago that even at his worst this season, he is a league average player. That's a pretty good thing to be at if that is your worst. So he can be a lot better than that. I think if this was the Milwaukee Brewers and they went out and made that trade, I think Mark Atanasio would trust Matt Arnold to make a deal in that situation if they had the same kind of money. If they had the same kind of money.
Oh, maybe the same kind of money, but if they would have made a deal for Kyle Tucker, it would have been to try to go win a World Series knowing he was leaving.
Exactly.
Like, that's why you trade for CC Sabathia because you know you can't sign him, but you're trying to get into the postseason for the first time in 26 years. That's why you make the Sabathia deal. You give up the farm to go get Zach Greinke because you know you had him for a couple of years before you would have to give him up and know you can't re-sign him either. So the Brewers, if they made this deal for Kyle Tucker, everybody and their mama knows they aren't re-signing him. The Cubs making the deal for Kyle Tucker, and the thing is going to implode in their face. They're going to lose good prospects and possibly not re-sign them on top of that. Like, that's crazy. And if I'm being honest, as a Brewers fan, I want them to spend $500 million on this dude. Spend it all because you want to know what's going to happen? Rick is going to be like, that's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come asking me for another player until his contract's up. You're out of my life. I don't want to hear about it. Trader, I'm paying you all this money. You're the highest paid manager in baseball. Now I spent $500 million on a damn player. I don't even know if I should have done or not. Don't come talking to me about, oh, I need money for a pitcher. Oh, I need money for another hitter. Oh, I need money for a closer. Stop. Don't want to hear about it. I gave you all the money I got. I'm out. So as a Brewers fan, I hope they sign that dude at the end of the day because it's going to screw them long term.
While here in Milwaukee, Pat Murphy and Matt Arnold are allowed to go trade for as many Andrew Vaughns as they want, go allowed to sign as many Jose Quintanas as they want, and build the team that they want, again, under those constraints. The Cubs and that front office and that coaching staff do not have that same level of freedom because they're spending so much money in that organization that the ownership has to have their hands in every little thing.
I'm enjoying it tremendously. I also enjoy me some Wendy's. The meal of misfortune devised by Wednesday Addams is available now at Wendy's, where you must surrender to your fate. It comes with rest in 10-piece nugs, cursed and crispy fries, and a small Raven's Blood Frosty. And, of course, 2 of 4 mysterious dips of dread to up the torment. In Wednesday's words, it's pure torture, tribute to the suffering that awaits us all. From the dips of dread, and the best part is you never know which one you'll get, each uniquely insufferable in its own torturous way. It's got to be Wendy's. Watch Wednesday Season 2 only on Netflix. Available for limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's while supplies last. See Sparky Fifer with you, Charlie Hughes, and producing today's show. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Stenny's Lake Country. This place is amazing. You will walk in and your mouth will drop when you see the inside of this place. It is unbelievable. And then you've got all the great Stenny's food, just like the one on 5th and National, where we'll be tomorrow afternoon from 2 to 6:30. Mitch Thunder Nellis will be out there in place of me. I have the rest of the week off after today. And Tommy Wirtz will be out there like he is here today from 5 until 6:30. Wings, pizzas, burgers, you name it. This is the place where you want to go. And again, shuttles to and from Brewers home games, guys. If you live out in this area and you're driving to American Family Field, I've got questions. I don't understand. This would be the no-brainer to take that shuttle to and from a Brewers home game out here at Stenny's Lake Country in Milwaukee. Coming up next, I will try and find Tommy Wirtz, who went over to those arcade games and never came back. I will go check on seeing how he is. That's coming up next, and we'll look ahead to the Brewers and D-backs tonight with Jacob Mizorowski on the mound next on The Fan. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Stenny's Lake Country out here in Milwaukee. Get the wings, get the pizza, get the burgers, take advantage of all of it. And it's brought to you by Sun Cruiser Vodka and Iced Tea, making it for us to be out here today. Tomorrow, Stenny's on 5th and National with Mitch Thunder Nellis and Tommy Wirtz as well. Made with real iced tea, real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink with no bubbles to fill you up. It's the perfect game day sipper. Make sure to have yourself a Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea today. Joining me now out here at Stenny's Lake Country, the one, the only, Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love out here with the Potawatomi Sportsbook, powered by the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Still powered.
It's still powered.
A lot of power.
A lot of powering by Potawatomi.
A lot of power.
They powered the station. The leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, comes up from 5 until 6:30. And, of course, joins us now for a little crosstalk leading up to that. First, your thoughts on Stenny's Lake Country. I'm assuming this is your first time out here because this is way west of Cudahy.
Way west of Cudahy. I don't get out this west very often, but it is worth it here for sure. I mean, the place is beautiful. Game room is awesome. I spent some time over there looking.
So that is a great game room.
Oh, yeah. Nice game room. Got a good papa shot. There is a giant bear, and I mean just obnoxiously sized bear in, I don't know if it was a claw machine or some sort of game, but I just want it. That's all I know. I haven't seen much more than that. Sweet patio, plenty of parking. Wait.
Yeah, you want to rewind? So are you one of those dudes that go to the carnival and try and win the big stuffed teddy bears, and you're like the single dude with nobody to give it to? Please tell me you're not one of those dudes.
No.
Please.
First of all, don't call me Mitch Nellis again on the radio.
Hey,
all right?
Mitch is married with a family. That's not fair.
I called him off air yesterday, and he got mad at me too. So
he's still the carnival guy for sure. Where were we last time? I don't even remember, but there was the game room, and we couldn't find Mitch forever too. It's the same thing.
Is that what he was doing?
It was actually, I think it was something when we were talking about for On the Green on Mason Crosby's show, and they talked about the game room. And Mitch, instead of asking any other golf question, was like, "Oh, I know that game room. It's an awesome game room."
So he's a big arcade guy.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's down to, Papa Shot. How
Love
much he
Papa
loves.
Shot.
He loves basketball, something like that, too. They got the punch machine in here. That's always a good one,
Never
too.
done that.
Never?
No. Why? I know I'm weak. Why do I got to go show everybody else how weak I am? That makes no damn sense.
Maybe there's a setting we can turn it to, like little girl or something.
Toddler.
And then
Toddler. Toddler level.
Use the headbutt setting.
Now that I'd be okay. I'd be pretty good at that one. If there was a headbutt game, I could play that one with my size of my head.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Coming up tonight, Jacob Mizorowski on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers at American Family Field against the D-backs. Brewers trying to make it 2 wins in a row against the D-backs. We talk about Mizorowski. It was Mizorowski pre getting hit by a ball, Mizorowski post getting hit by a ball. Mizorowski post getting hit by a ball is Mizorowski of, oh no, will he ever find his control? That's what this was in the minors. Walking a bunch of guys, giving up hits, and being dominant for an inning here, an inning there, showing you flashes, never putting it together like he did when he got called up the first time.
Yeah.
I am hoping and praying at some point here in the next month we rediscover that Jacob Mizorowski going forward, because if we don't, I don't know if Mizorowski is going to make this roster if he continues to walk a bunch of guys on a night in, night out basis, because I don't care what your name is, Pat Murphy is not going to deal with that in the playoffs.
But it seems like he does have some sort of longer leash with Jacob Mizorowski. He even said in pregame today, we'll play it on the leadoff show, for Jacob Mizorowski to have a short leash, he would need to self-destruct at that point. So I think he is all in on giving Mizorowski ample time. Your boy Anthony Siegler getting another shot today. Little spoiler alert for the lineup at the top of the hour.
No, there was no need to tell me that. You could have kept that to yourself. I didn't need to know that.
But you bring up the point with Miz, right? And so Miz in June, he had the 3 starts. He had 16 innings of work. His ERA was at 1.13, right?
Yep.
16 innings at 18 strikeouts over that time. And now in August, in his 2 outings here, he's 0-1 with the 13.5 ERA. He's given up 8 runs across 5 1/3. That is definitely a problem with Mizorowski. You cannot have those numbers and expect to be getting meaningful time with the Brewers. He's not going to. I think we've already come to the decision that he's not going to start a playoff game, right? I don't think that he's going to start a playoff game. I think he will be the first man out of the pen. I think he turns into Aaron Ashby or he turns into Robert Gasser, DL Hall. You input that person there.
I've been thinking more about this since you and I last talked earlier today. Had Andrew Wagner on Inside the Clubhouse, brought to you by Focus Baseball at American Family Field. And I'm going to say this. I think Gasser and Ashby as lefties will definitely be those guys to Woodruff and to Peralta, neither one of whom you trust to go very long. Priester has shown you the idea and the idea that he can go that long. I think you use Mizorowski like you used Josh Hader when he first came up. Inning here, 2 innings there. Bring him in the 6th to pitch the 6th and the 7th, and then you go to Uribe and McGill at that point. If you need him earlier in the game, somebody's getting blown up, and you need a situation where he's got to come in and pitch the 4th and the 5th before you get to the rest of the bullpen, I think you do that. I think that's how I would use Mizorowski in the postseason as we sit here today.
Yeah, I think he could come in the 5th inning. I think he could come in the 8th inning. Maybe he comes in the 9th inning if he's needed in a game in the playoffs. I don't think that Jacob Mizorowski is not fluid, right? I think he can be wherever you need him to be come a meaningful game. He came out of the bullpen a little bit already to start in the minor leagues, and then they transitioned him into a starter when they eventually saw he had that stuff and he could have that stamina to do it. I think that he's going to be a part of the playoff roster. I don't think that there is any doubt in my mind. His stuff is too gross to not be a part of it, and I don't care if what the matchup is. Like, I would rather have Jacob Mizorowski, and I trust Jacob Mizorowski at least as much as I trust Grant Anderson and Jared Koenig, Sparky.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy Wirtz joins us, host of the Leadoff Show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, the big old hunk of love out here from 5 until 6:30 at Stenny's Lake Country. Come on out, say hi. We got our relief pitcher fan T-shirts to give out. We also have all the cool Sun Cruiser T-shirts, hats, and all that stuff to give out as well. Let me bring this up to you. We talked about it earlier. DL Hall apparently reached out to Ryan O'Hearn, who then was with the Baltimore Orioles, an outfielder, at the trade deadline, him and other Brewers, according to The Athletic, and said, hey, man, we made a good offer for you. We're coming. Like, get ready. You're going to be coming to the Brewers. That type of deal. We asked earlier, does this kind of take off some of that stink that was at the deadline where the Brewers didn't do anything? It's funny. I found an article from last July, and it was the same thing. And the Brewers don't do anything at the trade deadline. And then there is Matt Arnold going, well, we did this stuff earlier in the month of July and chose to make our moves then, which was fine, right? They got Savali at that point. And who was the other pitcher that they got? Oh, Frankie Montas. So they got those two guys at that point earlier before the trade deadline. And it worked out obviously for the Brewers. They got themselves to the postseason with those two. The Brewers do the same thing this year. If they add Ryan O'Hearn, looking at it now, how big of an impact really would it have been?
Is that the end of the question? You say it stunk, and I say it smelled like Antonio Banderas cologne. Like, I thought it was totally fine. They had no reason to make a trade at the deadline. I don't think it matters. I don't think that it plays any factor at all, and I wouldn't feel any better about this team if they had a guy like Ryan O'Hearn on the team right now. Andrew Vaughn is an acquisition. That was a trade acquisition, and he has turned into the best player on this team since July 7th. You got to thank Aaron Savali for that deal that happened at the time. Brandon Lockridge has not been a terrible addition.
No, he's been better than I thought.
He has been way better than anyone could have thought. Bryce Terang's power surge from August 1st should be seen as a trade deadline acquisition. I literally think you can play it down to that. That was not predicted. You needed a bat to come out, and you wanted to trade for one. Really, they just had one emerge. Instead, it was Bryce Terang at the exact same time.
You still don't have a bat at third base. I still rather would have had Suarez.
Caleb Durbin has the exact same amount of homers in August as Eugenio Suarez.
Caleb Durbin isn't even trusted by his manager to play. He's playing a double-A player, Siegler, over him at this point. I do not want to hear about the great Caleb Durbin. I agree with you. I'd play Caleb Durbin every day. Righty, lefty, whatever else, he should play every day. But the manager, Pat Murphy, doesn't agree with you, doesn't agree with me, and continues to play his best friend on the team, Anthony Siegler, instead, including tonight, according to you.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Charlie Usen, you are a younger guy like Tommy Wirtz. He lost me at the beginning of talking in that answer. What in the world does Antonio Banderas cologne smell like?
That might have been like actually a too late of a reference for Charlie.
That's
even
deep. I have no
Yeah.
idea. what
You don't know
smells
that one either?
That's like,
What is that? I didn't even know that was a thing.
it's more. I would have said like I
What
just
is that?
remember that being like a millennial type thing going around when my brother was in high school and whatever. And I knew I was never going to get you on that. I just hope at least you both know who Antonio Banderas is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like,
Sparky?
you go out to the bars and be like, yeah, that's my Antonio Banderas cologne you're smelling.
Oh yeah. You know what I would rather say is like actually I smell like Anthony Siegler in the lineup right now. That works just as well, I think.
People
too.
would flock away from you at that point.
We got to talk sports, all right?
You want to talk sports?
We're talking
yes,
sports.
yes.
That's your mission. And
That is
so,
my mission.
yeah.
We only got like 3 minutes left, and then it's
How
all
about
Brewers baseball.
How about Kalen King not making the roster today? That was kind of crazy.
How about
right?
Christian Welch not making the roster?
Yeah.
Who you and I were talking about earlier. You're like,
Yeah.
there's no way they're sending him away 2 years in a row, Sparky. It's not happening. Never going to happen. There's no way Christian Welch is getting cut from this team.
You know, whenever
Toodles.
you take give an inch and take a marathon from you, Sparky. I did not say that directly.
Man,
I would say
go back
you
and
would
get the tape.
You would think that really helps Christian Welch's case, which everyone thought that. I'm super pumped to see Nasir Stackhouse make the roster. I thought that was a fun one, but I am very shocked at how many defensive backs they took and kept on the 53-man. I think this just means that, like, Javon Bullard's a nickel corner. He's not a safety anymore,
Correct.
right? Like,
Yes.
that is completely throw that out the window.
I think you threw that out the window last year when you saw him attempt to play safety.
Right. He wasn't very good at it. I thought Kalen King was almost a lock to make it, too.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear
But
that.
again, all this nonsense about, if you play well in the last preseason game, you could possibly make the roster. That's all hogwash.
No.
They had that whole thing more than likely picked out. Now, tomorrow, Goody talks, LaFleur talks, all these cats talk. You'll hear it, most of it, here on this show tomorrow, starting at 2 o'clock with Mitch Thundernelis at Stenny's on 5th and National. Go on down there, take a shuttle to and from the game, like you can here from Stenny's Lake Country. I want somebody to ask Brian Gutekunst.
Tell Andy to.
Who made the team based on what happened in the last exhibition game? Who made the team based on that? And he's going to say, well, it doesn't all come down to one game. It's a culmination of everything that happens in training camp and so forth. Right. All those cats in there all knew their fate was sealed going into that game no matter what, because King played his way out of this roster, and it did not matter.
Well, and Isaiah Simmons' best game was after that game, too, right? And if you thought they weren't going to keep Christian Welch, they would have kept Isaiah Simmons. They ended up not keeping either of them during that. But, yeah, and Andy was even one who said that he didn't really think that Nasir Stackhouse necessarily in-game was playing himself onto the roster, but he always talked about him at camp and how great he looked at training camp.
Right.
And I think that the games really just mean almost nothing as far as roster acquisition and retention now for the NFL, and it's all about camp. Bo Melton wasn't anything that was a problem in any of the games, but he wasn't like, oh my gosh, keep this guy on the team because he's so great at corner. But he made his name in training camp, and I think it weighs way more in on it than it does your performance in any preseason game.
And again, you can do what you do when it comes to fantasy and daily fantasy and all of that stuff with Prize Picks, right? You download that Prize Picks app today, and you are on your way. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Here, I'll do quick math for you. You put $5 into the Prize Picks app, $5, right? And then they give you $50. If you play $5 daily fantasy lineups, you can play that bad boy 11 times on $5. 11 times. It's simple to play. All you're doing is picking more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks correct, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. And, oh, by the way, Prize Picks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't correct. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Shut off the music. Shut off the music.
Oh.
We're not done. Just hold on a second, Charlie. I appreciate you being on time, but not yet. So that is the latest on Prize Picks. Again, if you go on there right now, you can go more or less on season totals for Jordan Love passing yards or Josh Jacobs rushing yards or Jordan Love passing touchdowns or whatever the case may be. Any quarterback, any running back, any player, in the league. You can go take advantage of that now, more or less. Download your Prize Picks app today and use code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And again, with preseason football wrapping up and college football going here, now is your chance to download that Prize Picks app. Before we wrap it up here, I was on the Locked on Bucks podcast that I believe will be posted tomorrow.
Yep.
And I would like to I was on there with Justin Garcia, Charlie Usen, and I would like to ask Tommy this question because I don't know the answer, and I think it could be entertaining for Charlie and myself. Can you please tell me about the bathrobe and coffee mug story?
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So the day after I moved back from college, I was parked in front of my mom's house, and I spent the night over there. I was on the screen to take my final test of college, and I heard this huge noise that came from outside. And this woman had smashed into my car. It was the only car on the road, totaled my car.
Oh, yeah, you've told me this before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the city of South Milwaukee, we'll say it, right?
Not Cudahy.
Not Cudahy. No,
Okay.
my mom lived in South Milwaukee.
All right.
I called the police. I called 911 because I didn't know who you call. And they were like, do you need an ambulance? Do you need a fire truck? Do you need a police? I was like, honestly, like the car needs to be towed, and I'm calling the authorities.
Right.
You would have thought a double homicide happened in South Milwaukee with the amount of first responders that were on my mom's road because of this. The firemen swept up the debris, we moved the cars. One of the cars gets towed, right? And then the next day in my mail, I had a $500 bill for calling 911.
That'll do it.
For an accident, right? And my car was being unoperated. It was parked legally. There were no keys in the car. Nothing was happening. For 2 years, I fought the city of South Milwaukee to not pay a $500 bill, even as far as getting the news involved, and they came over. I was not in a bathrobe, but I was drinking coffee, and I had an oversized sweatshirt on. Basically had just woke up and told the news, why would I call 911 ever in my life if I'm going to get charged $500 for it? So if you ever get in a car accident, just try to take care of as much as you can without getting the authorities involved, because otherwise they're going to make you pay $500. I will say, took me 2 years, Sparky, and I beat the case. Didn't have to pay it.
Good job.
Yeah, it actually, what happened is the collection agency went out of business, so then the city took over. The city took over for it then.
And the collection agency.
And I ended up talking to an alderman, an alderwoman, the mayor, and the fire chief of South Milwaukee until I finally got over it. It's one of my more prouder accomplishments, showing that just good. If you're stubborn enough, they will get you to the person who will handle it for you.
Tommy Wirtz is definitely stubborn, I'm here to tell you. Yes, that is true. He is Tommy Wirtz. Cat Kim coming up next. The leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sports gets you ready for Brewers and D-back. The Miz on the mound tonight. Get reports from American Family Field here from Pat Murphy from before today's game. Austin Herdina give you the pick of the day over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. My thanks to Charlie Usen. See you all coming up next week. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Stenny's Lake Country, out here to 6:30. Come on out, say hi, have a good one. Toodles.